Okay, let's go.
In the timeless words of Beyonce, girls,
Hi.
they run the world. And in the lands of the elves and Warhammer Fantasy, no truer words have ever been spoken. Getting down to the nitty-gritty of things, you can more or less pin the entirety of the Dark Elves and everything they've ever done on Morathi.
Give me a second. Yes, he has a point. Actually, I just realized, guys, the whole drama between Dark Elves and High Elves are kind of just women drama. It's just kind of female.
She's the one who refounded the pleasure cults, leading to many High Elves sliding into decadence, and when her
Basagit is by 2 dragons and Cracky Boy. Yep, perfect, okay. Now we can focus on the video.
her son Malekith was dealing with them, she convinced him to join their side using methods not suited for discussion within the first minute of a YouTube video. And more to the point for this
Don't worry, guys, we're gonna discuss it later. After 5 minutes.
video, the Everqueen of the High Elves. There's a lot of lore that goes back and forth a bit on who the real powerhouse of Ulthuan is between the Phoenix King and the Everqueen. The Phoenix
I would like to believe both. Both are good. Jason's the Discord and threw the Dreadnought in the Warhammer crafting channel. Let's go! I'm gonna look at it after the stream. I'm very excited at looking at minis because I was looking at a lot of painting minis videos on YouTube and stuff. And I love Dreadnought. Tool, the best boy ever. There's no Adam and Eve sponsor for this one. Man! I mean, it wouldn't fit that much as it did with Morathi, to be honest. Is there a different sponsor, though?
King usually makes most of the laws and stuff that govern the High Elves, for instance. But the Everqueen can certainly play politics when needed, and also keeps the spiritual health of Ulthuan safe. And in a fantasy setting, that is kind of important to do. I mean, there's straight up a ritual they gotta do to keep the moon from crashing into the
I didn't know about that. I didn't know that there's literally moon trying to crash into the earth. The current Phoenix King isn't much truck and fighting and magic, a great sailor and diplomat though. Oh, so he just has different strengths. Currently it's much more the Everqueen who is doing stuff. The current Phoenix King is really passive diplomat by comparison. Okay, that's fine. Phoenix King just wants to sail, relatable. Yeah, makes sense. One of the moons is made of solid chaos. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Am I continuing making music and release my merch right now? No problem, hope you have fun. Technically, there would have been 2 chaos moons, but the second one crashed into the southern chaos wastes instead of going into orbit. Oh, I see, okay. Morathi, let me show you why you should join my side. Malekith, mother! The moon is made of solid warpstone, the stuff that the Skaven use for everything, of course. Yes, okay, so I didn't know that it's made out of warpstone. That would explain why in the end times Skaven really wanted it on the ground. Makes sense. A lot of warpstone, a lot of stuff to do with it.
planet. That's important. And depending on how you read it, you can argue that the Phoenix King really just exists to make Babi with the Everqueen, so the next one can exist, and then they...
No. He is a diplomatic man who is very happy. Let him be. We can't just tell him that he is only there for the baby. That's gonna make him feel sad. Come on.
both just go their separate ways to do whatever. No one said they have to love each other after all. They can go do their own thing after the fact. And then we get Everqueens like today's subject, Alarielle. Gaslight Gatekeep Girlboss incarnate. She's beauty, she's grace, and she's gonna get me called woke on Twitter with this video. But that's okay, because if that's the price I pay to talk about elves, then so be it. Sit down and listen.
Also, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this absolutely stunning horse in the back, and I just wanna pet it, man. I just wanna pet it. Why am I starting into a blue moon? Because it's a very pretty blue moon. You want to stare into it, don't you? The main point is the baby. Well, yes, it is the main point, indeed. It's going good. Streamer is learning lore. I love lore. I may or may have not watched several videos about Mechanicus lore in past few days. I may or may have not also watched few videos about Turfs in last few days. Just maybe. The Chaos Moon is also in certain depictions canonically sentient and real as. Oh, so like Soul Eater Moon. Okay. Where my 2x0 captain? Where are my heroes? Hero is gone. Hero is not here currently.
Listen about Alarielle the Radiant, a My Little Pony character who got lost in the gritty world of Warhammer Fantasy. But let's look at that word first.
Why do I not believe that she's My Little Pony in the very gruesome world, but she is the gruesome world as well?
Everqueen. It's got ever in the name. You know what else has ever as part of the word? Forever. And you know what's good for forever? Knowledge. Like the knowledge you can get from Brilliant, the sponsor of this video. Brilliant is where you go to learn data science, math, computer science, and so much more with interactive lessons that are actually fun to go through. You want to sit through a math class in school? Of course.
Alarielle is pretty much the Warhammer version of Lord of the Rings Galadriel. True, she kinda is. Have you seen the random event for ogres where they eat My Little Ponies? No, I don't think so. Everyone are pawns to the changer of ways in the end, so why not join the winning side? Oi! Oi!
Of course you don't. No one does. The person who wants to do that doesn't exist. But on Brilliant, that sort of thing is engaging. You aren't going to be falling asleep at your computer. You'll actually be interested in learning, because Brilliant knows that learning and fun can go hand in hand. They're hands-on lessons that teach you how to solve problems, not just memorize them. And it's all totally stress-free, because there's no time crunch or obligation to study 40 hours.
I solve problems all the time. Do I really need to learn them? It just gives the army meat.
It's a week like it's your job. Got 5 minutes on the train? Load up Brilliant. That's more than fine. Got 40 hours a week? Well, that's just fantastic. If you got the time, then Brilliant's going to make sure you learn your best.
Boy.
Not sure where to start? Well, if so, might I recommend exploring data visually? It's always handy to have some skills with handling data. You can make useful data out of damn near anything, so getting a start on learning it properly can only help. And if all that isn't enough to convince you, how about this? Using my link in the description and pinned comment, you can get yourself 20% off your annual plan with Brilliant. Even better, the first 30 days are a completely free trial. That's https://brilliant.org/PancreasNoWork/ for both of the above offers.
She is less badass than Galadriel in the books. I didn't read the books yet. I do plan to read the Lord of the Rings books one day.
Learning more is never a bad.
Rings of Power is crap, don't watch it. I watched a lot of YouTube critics about Rings of Power. Yeah, I'm not touching that. I refuse to believe that it's part of Lord of the Rings world. No, it doesn't exist in my head.
So sign up for Brilliant today and keep your brain in tip-top shape. Now then, time to beeline it for the Sword of Cain. Alarielle the Radiant's backstory is both that of someone destined for greatness by birth, and also that of someone who was so far out of their depth you can't help but feel bad for them. As with all other queens, she was the child of the previous one, an elf named Estriel. When her mother finally died, she would receive the composite soul of the previous Everqueens as well as Isha's power, becoming the next in a long line of Everqueens to help safeguard Ulthuan. As a little chibi elf, she was taken away from her mother and grew up in secrecy, as is tradition for the Everqueens. Her mother during this time was tragically assassinated by Dark Elves, and aside from the obvious problem of her mother being murdered, in elf years she was like 15 years old tops. But
no, we have the tragic backstory. No. Based story, thank you. Her morals are also a lot more lax compared to Galadriel. I see.
Now she had to get the power of a goddess far before she was ready to take it on, as well as co-rulership over the entire continent of Ulthuan. Sink or swim is a pretty good way to describe Alarielle's early life. But wait, we're not done yet. That Dark Elf assassination wasn't just a funny little isolated prank they were pulling out of boredom. Malekith was beginning yet another invasion of Ulthuan. He was determined to get his birthright that wasn't actually his birthright, that Mommy Dearest was putting the thought into his head while he was putting his penis in her, so he...
Why do we have to do this? No, why? No!
He was determined to get his way. Almost immediately after being crowned Everqueen, Alarielle had to deal with the largest Dark Elf invasion of Ulthuan ever attempted, which was assisted by the forces of Chaos getting in on the fun as Dark Elf allies. And this invasion was not going well for the High Elves in the early stages. Dark Elves on their own are already brutal warriors, and now they were being assisted by Chaos warriors and demons. In fact, their coronation, for all intents and purposes, had its ending marked by a Dark Elf army interrupting it to come and take out the next Everqueen before
Awesome.
she could come into her own. Alarielle is many things, but at this point she's not much of a warrior, so despite her maiden guard throwing themselves into battle, it looked like Alarielle was not to be long for the world. Thankfully for her and the narrative, however, Tyrion was here as well. And Tyrion is the heir of Anarion and an all-around kick-ass fighter. He grabbed Alarielle, grabbed his sword, and stabbed any dark elf who got in their way. A witch elf stabbed him with a poisoned blade, but Tyrion powered through and escaped with Alarielle.
Powered through, damn, bruh. Nice. Never forget Malekith is a real... I know he is. I know.
Dark elves and demons hot on their trail. Everyone in Ulthuan, however, assumed that the pair was dead. This was worse than just being the morale sinker of having your leader assassinated too, because of how the Everqueen is responsible for the High Elves' spiritual health. If she's missing or dead, the High Elves are physically weakened. Elf
They're
magic
not happy.
nonsense, sure, but it's what they have to deal with. So everyone thinking she's dead means everyone has a sad so big it degrades their combat effectiveness. Everyone, that is, except for our favorite magical twink, Teclis.
He's fine. Tyrion and Teclis together add up to the ultimate elf. Oh, that's awesome. Warhammer orcs are literally just fungus. They are sentient fungus. Yep, they are. Teclis freaking. Everkrun missing? Doesn't matter.
And Tyrion being elf twins mean they have some sort of psychic link or whatever. And
Oh.
Teclis knew his brother wasn't dead because of it. And if Tyrion isn't dead, that means Alarielle probably isn't either. So with his newly forged sword and new magical crown, he dragged his tuberculosis-ridden ass over to where Alarielle and are now suffering from
That
the
is a
poison
lot of
Tyrion
units.
were about to bite the bullet by way of the Keeper of Secrets, Nakari. And then Nakari exploded, because before the end times, there wasn't a problem alive that Teclis couldn't solve by blasting it to Kingdom Come with magic. Alarielle
He's literally just, you know what? There is a problem. Let me just blast it with magic and it's gonna get solved.
When Tyrion got healed up, Alarielle gave Teclis his magical staff Lilith, and then the trio went on to Finnival Plain, where the final desperate stand of the High Elves was taking place. The upside of that magical Everqueen elf nonsense is now that they saw their Everqueen returned and healthy, the High Elves present had a fire lit in their hearts and fought like men possessed. Better than
now
men
they can
possessed, in all
fight.
honesty, because there were Chaos Warriors here, and they ripped those guys apart like paper mache. With Alarielle present, the Maiden Guard once more formed up alongside the rest of the High Elf elite, and the Dark Elves and chaotic forces were sent packing. Although even in her video, I'm still gonna play favorites a little bit here. Teclis did most of the heavy lifting. He made Malekith so afraid of him, the Witch King threw himself into the realm of chaos to escape, and every Dark Elf that got near him was obliterated. Though in all fairness, without Alarielle's presence, none of the elves fighting would have been at their A-game. Just by virtue of her being safe and sound, let alone fighting next to them, is that much of a morale booster and force multiplier. Oh, and at some point around this time, Tyrion showed her his Sword of Cain, and they made Aliathra. We'll come back to her later. No, I might as well double dip.
Who that though? I never heard that word. The things Pancreas would do to Teclis. Yeah, I don't know why he hates him so much, but he clearly does not like him. You will meet Nakari. Good luck. Nakari has never forgiven the brothers. I don't think I want to meet her now. Do not fuck with Teclis. No, do not fuck with Teclis. Not a good idea.
Tip a bit since a video about Alarielle.
Oh no, he loves Teclis. He does? I see. I thought he does not. Well, I love Games Workshop and their love of copyright. Shh, it's okay. They copied the homework and made it slightly different. A bit too much, maybe. No, you can't love Teclis too much, can you? Between the High Elves and Dark Elves, because they're at Elven Civil War, who is the next Phoenix King by their father, the first Phoenix King, and have two sons. The King of Dark Elves is second son. Trust me. Okay, I will trust you. Teclis is his twink, affectionately. Opposite, actually. Pancreas would do unspeakable things to him in the bed. Because Nakari doesn't do well against archers. Oh, I see. The things that he said he would do with Teclis keeps me up at night. Oh, I'm glad I didn't hear about them then. Yeah, there's a big failing with Tyrion, perfect hero, sons, the temper, and the adultery. Very Lancelot in that way. In the words of Pancreas, if I meet Teclas, one of us is leaving pregnant. Oh my god. You will turn the carry into a porcupine? Okay, I will do that.
Is going to be about the Everqueen position in general. So here's a bit of the responsibilities an Everqueen has, and you can assume Alarielle tends to all of them. There was that whole business with keeping the moon from crashing into the world. Got to do that every 10 years. She has to go all the way to the Tower of the Sun located near Inn, so this isn't exactly a small little trip. Once a year, she also has to go into the mountains around Ulthuan, known as the Anuli, to keep Slaanesh demons out of the dreams of the High Elves. The Everqueen is also in charge of elf fertility rituals, which is important because elves do not frequently have children and are an overall dying race.
Makes sense.
Abe would be proud, I'm sure. The fertility is beyond just the elves, though. Remember, the goddess soul bits inside of Alarielle are that of Isha, the goddess of fertility and life. The health of Ulthuan's food supply is also one of her responsibilities, so if you enjoy food, you better hope Alarielle is on top of things. But it gets even more extreme than that, because her very mood can determine the weather, especially in the home province of the Everqueen called Averlorn. When she's in a good mood, it's a wonderful spring day, and the land is filled with singing elves and dancing bards and all sorts of that lovey-dovey nonsense. When she's in a bad mood, it's a scorching summer day in the Sahara, or a nice and sunny Kislevite winter for all the poor High Elves. It is in the interest of the High Elves to keep Alarielle happy, if only so their home doesn't go through every climate disaster all at once. The Everqueen's Court of Averlorn is also the closest thing to paradise in the Warhammer world, including the afterlife. And I wasn't joking about it being filled with the songs of carefree elves. I want to go there. When they aren't being called to war as the High Elves tend to be, this is the Garden of Eden. There's friendly and mischievous nature spirits, and the elves almost all live in mobile tent cities, and there's a general vibe of a never-ending party. Not a Fall of the Eldar grade party, though. These elves are just having a good time. Now,
I would love to go there. Why there must be always war?
Of course, there's also all kinds of scheming and politics going on, because these are still the High Elves. Depending on the fellas in question, complimenting someone's poem about how beautiful the landscape is can also be a veiled insult on how Alarielle actually hates their guts. It really is a nice place, though, and for all that it is hippie paradise, the politics that happen here are just as important as those in Lothern with the Phoenix King. And very worth noting is that Alarielle the Radiant, in spite of being the Everqueen with all the domestic responsibilities that entails, is a playable model on the tabletop. She is not the kind of elf to just stick to her fertility duties and tend to Ulthuan's spiritual health. She's will go into the fight and take names at a moment's notice. Case in point, one time there was a Slaanesh invasion on Ulthuan. Morathi was involved naturally, and Alarielle was put in a coma through an otherwise failed assassination attempt. When she came back to the waking world, it was actually the first time the power of the Everqueen within her truly awoke as well. Alarielle, not being one to mess around, summoned an army of dryads and went into the heart of the battle. The Slaanesh champion leading the invasion sought her out for a variety of reasons, both tactical and Slaaneshi, but before he could so much as try and lay a finger on her, she just grabbed his hand. In an instant, no more Slaanesh corruption. She saved the man's soul just like that. Of course, Slaanesh is rather territorial about her toys, so she started pouring her power into the dude while Alarielle was as well, and they got into a bit of a tug of war over the guy's soul. Eventually, Alarielle pulled out and the dude's soulless body turned into a massive chaos spawn, but I think that's more or less completely irrelevant. Irrelevant to showcasing her power.
Yeah, she just grabbed the soul is just her now, you know? She couldn't give it to Slaanesh because it would make Slaanesh much stronger, so it was better to just, well, kill the guy. That chaos spawn looks like Leech? Oh.
Or anyways, they was still pretty...
You know what he looks like? He looks like Kezu from Monster Hunter. The face, the little skin, yeah, it kind of reminds me of that one.
Relevant to the battle, and they had to kill it. Alarielle went toe-to-toe with Slaanesh in a magical tug of war. Not a greater demon of Slaanesh, or the winds of magic, which were corrupted by Slaanesh. She fought Slaanesh one-on-one and got what she wanted out of it. Also worth noting is that even though Alarielle really wanted to kill him, she refused to, because if she could restore life rather than take it, she'll do that every time. Isn't that cheerful and noble? The various elves of Ulthuan are rather divided on how to feel about Alarielle going on the warpath as often as she does. For those against it, part of it is that she's going against tradition, and the Phoenix King is supposed to be the one handling the war, and going against tradition is so uncultured that it gives the elves physical pain, yada yada yada. But on rather more reasonable notes...
Hello there, Shadow Drake. Hear me out. Wood. She didn't hang out with the goth kids. She hang out at the library. Yes, she did. Oh, but you know, I still wonder how she fights Slaanesh though. She didn't listen to death metal. She listened to Taylor Swift.
Some of them fear that it's a sign Isha is growing more warlike as time goes on. And you know what?
Uh-oh.
Fair complaint. If I saw the embodiment of my mother goddess who's all about love and happiness and nature rip a dude in half, I would probably also be concerned about the future. And worst of all is that if the Everqueen is slain, reality starts breaking down a bit. Ulthuan basically just pulls from the mystery box for what the weather is going to be like, so that's a nightmare to deal with. All non-Druchii elves enter a state of intense grief, even the wood elves. It's so extreme that even people like humans who have been influenced by the high elves feel an inexplicable sense of sadness. So again, given all of that, I sorta get why you wouldn't want.
So basically, if the Everqueen dies, a huge depression spreads among a whole freaking faction, plus some more. Oh boy. Those who think Isha was never warlike has never met Alarielle. Until the next one comes, yep. Oh boy. Okay, so this is a question actually, because the Everqueen comes from the Everqueen and the Phoenix King. But if the Everqueen is slain before a new one is born, what then? Isha might be a god of life and nature, but nature is terrifying? Yes. New species, white depression? Yes. The wolves tend to react violently though? Ooh. Uh-oh. That's not good. We don't want that.
Her on the battlefield. If she dies, you're instantly depressed on the spot, and a tornado is ripping through the area. There's also the fact she oftentimes seems to be going against what Finnabar has set in motion, but that's less significant and something that happens with...
Impossible, I see. So there has to be a new Everqueen at a certain point. Okay. It's funny how different Total War Alarielle is compared to the lore-accurate Alarielle. Game Alarielle usually turns into Alarielle the Ever-Chosen when, not if, she gets the Sword of Cain. I see. Isha is the mother goddess of the elven pantheon that is both the nurturing life-making aspect and the mother bear aspect as well. Rock, paper, scissors to see who is next in line. If that happens, then it is the end of the Everqueen, hence the super fear when they all thought she died. Oh.
Every Everqueen at some point. The High Elves are all about duality, so if anything, the Everqueen and Phoenix King not being
That's why they're so hypocritical.
For all they complain about her, though, when Alarielle takes to the battlefield, it's a massive boost to the High Elves overall, so those directly around her, at least, won't complain in earshot. She's their queen and goddess, and no, for once that isn't just me being a simp for pointy ears. It's very literal here. And while she is a Lore of Life wizard, being Isha's representative and all, she's a Lore of Life wizard that can cause a forest to pop up out of nowhere and swallow your entire army whole. She keeps her troops healthy and energized.
Can I do that? Can I do that? Can I just pop out the forest wherever I want in the campaign? It's okay she has a murdery side to her, but who doesn't love a woman who can kick their butt? Finnabar the Seafarer is as uninterested in sleeping with her as she is with him. They both lie back and think of Uthuan. Oh, that's not good, man. Sorry, no, but you could ask the trees to get up and smack bitch. Yeah, I know about the trees. I know that the trees, being a Tzeentch worshipper involves a lot of gaslighting. I'm not a Tzeentch worshipper. What do you mean? Not quite, but you can get tree sprints units. Man, I wanted to just pop out a wood, just like freaking wood out of nowhere. I forget if she can learn it or not, but there is a spell called the Dwellers Below, which is what he's describing. Ooh. Nope, but the forest decides to join you on the battlefield. Perfect. Yeah, but Finnabar thinks that Alarielle's daughter is his when it's actually Tyrion's. Oh, that's not good. That's... we have a problem. Ew. She has a thorn shield spell. Ooh. Hence he is cackled in every sense. Oh no. Are you sure? I am sure. I ain't so sure, Tori. That's a lot of Tzeentch blue I see. Oh, the fact that I'm blue doesn't mean I'm Tzeentch. Not a Tzeentch worship. A little bit. Oh, dwarves have blue too. They like blue. She already admitted the guys Tzeentch is her favorite. Okay, if I had to choose, then yes, it's Tzeentch. You don't have Dwellers Below. Oh. That is a bit of elven banter. Healthy amount. You have a part to play to his plan, don't worry. Oh my gosh, I don't want to play that part. Angry Trees is a fun campaign too. Oh yeah, I will try Wood Elves at certain point. Also, high elves are canonically not monogamous the way people are, so her and Tyrion isn't an issue. Aside from the fact that her daughter is not meant to be Tyrion's. Oh yeah, because also the birth rate is very low, so it's like, will she get a second child? She gets banishment instead of dwellers below. It's a high magic spell. As he said, this is one of his schemes. No! 3 golden orbs on the upper necklace, 3 rings in the ears, 3 by 3 is 9. Is 9 is his number? Beat this allegations. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And what was the third 3? 3 golden orbs on the upper necklace, 3 rings in the ears. Gosh darn it. He got me, guys. You are playing his game, remember? All I'm gonna say is challenging campaign would be pretty cool. I have to learn some stuff first. If anything, something really weird about Tyrion is that he is completely monogamous for her. Oh, basically she's not supposed to sleep with anyone but Finnebr until she's had a kid. Then she can be with whoever she wants. Oh, I see. I guess the Phoenix Throne is a character after all. Oh no.
The enemy army to be devoured by nature, and since she's part Isha, Dryads and Treekin just love her and help her out whenever they can. As far as she's concerned, this is all her duty, and since her career as Everqueen began with her mother being assassinated and her nearly being assassinated twice, she's not one to shy away from combat. Plus, against Chaos or the Undead, she can more or less just snap her fingers and make the problem go away. If keeping Ulthuan's spiritual health means she's gotta crack some skulls, she'll get right to it. And going back to that duality thing the Asur love, Alarielle being the warmonger, while Finnebr is certainly the more diplomatic one, does fit with that worldview. Eventually, Alarielle had her daughter named Aliathra. Supposedly her and Finnebar's kid, she was actually her and Tyrion's kid, like I said earlier. For the purposes of Aliathra becoming the next Everqueen, there was no issues there. It does mean that the future Everqueen would eventually have the Curse of Anarion, though, so that would be a little bit awkward. Aliathra was a pretty cool gal, though. She was a great diplomat, in part by...
Well, why was? What happened to the child? Why was? Why are we talking in the past tense?
Virtue of just how unflinchingly positive and cheery she was. Even the dwarfs loved her. She was the kind of elf that would give their weary race new hope for the future, in spite of all the tragedy and conflict the Asur had been through up to this point. Have I put up enough death flags yet? I'm worried there's a few people who either don't know Aliathra's role in the end times or are missing my nice and subtle hints. So anyways, as the end times begin, Manfred does his best to try and star in an episode of To Catch a Predator and kidnaps Aliathra. Tyrion responds to this by being himself and setting out to murder everything in his way. Alarielle has a rather more diplomatic approach. She goes to Athel Loren, and in exchange for trying to heal Ariel and the Rotting Oak of Ages, they'd send a military force to help rescue Aliathra. Hey, diplomatic route doesn't necessarily mean the peaceful one. War is diplomacy. At one point, this turns into her absorbing Ariel, as well as the rest of Isha, into herself. She then takes a bit of a backseat for a while, during which time her daughter is unable to be rescued and becomes one of the sacrifices used to resurrect Nagash. Rest in peace, Aliathra. You were a positive, happy-go-lucky little chibi elf, so naturally your only possible fate was a horrible, horrible death.
We hate it! I want her back! Bring back the cute chibi elf! She sounded delightful! Sit down for a second. Not Nagash. I hate it! And then Manfred von Christen happened and ruined everything. As always, end times ruins everything. No! We love the chibi elf. I want her back. Because Tyrion has a direct line to Anarion, and he and his entire bloodline became cursed by the Sword of Cain when he used it during the first Chaos incursion. Oh, I see. Okay, that is a problem indeed. Oh no, it's him. Yeah. I'm not happy, guys. I don't want her to die. Not like this. She seemed awesome. It's not just that, it's also because Malekith is seen by Tyrion as everything he stands against and as the greatest enemy of the High Elves aside from Chaos. Although technically Alarielle also has the Curse of Cain, as she is descendant of Anarion. Oh boy. We have a lot of Curse of Cain here.
At least she went out like a badass by refusing to rise to Manfred's taunts and making him look petty and stupid. It was enough to even impress Arkan. Eventually, Alarielle returns home to find out that Malekith is apparently the rightful Phoenix King now. There's a whole lot of people not too happy with that. She marries him in order to keep some semblance of peace and unity, which, while stupid,
That
is
happened?
also probably the best of a whole lot of bad
Interesting.
options. I imagine she was just trying to keep as much unity amongst all the elves now as possible, given that chaos was invading and Nagash had just come back.
Makes
This
sense.
does make Tyrion go nuts, though. His lover married his worst enemy, his daughter is dead, his friend Finnebar is dead,
Yeah.
and it turns out his brother was the one to arrange quite a good portion of all of this in order to stop chaos.
I can see how that could start a rage in the man. I can see that. End times, Malekith, you idiot. If you only stood in the fire for one more second, you would have been Phoenix King. End times, just like Marathi, things go nuts.
Blame him for being a little bit upsetty spaghetti. He drew the Sword of Cain and starts slaughtering elves left and right. Alarielle takes on Marathi, who in her madness thought Tyrion...
In canon, the issue is that, like a phoenix, you need to die in the flames of Assyrian to be reborn. Malekith survived. Ooh.
Tyrion was her boy Torineesan reborn, and at one point she just starts turning elves into trees. Tyrion is eventually dealt
That's
with.
interesting.
Teclis tries to bind the winds of magic to all the elves around him. Marathi mucks it up, and he can only bind light to his staff, life to Alarielle, and shadow to Malekith. Ulthuan then sinks, and all the elves have to learn how to get along in Athel Loren. Nagash shows up, offers Manfred on a silver platter,
She's
and
going in the
everyone
book now.
accepts. Alarielle and Tyrion especially, because Manfred sort of got their daughter killed to resurrect him. Naturally, Nagash taunts Alarielle and Tyrion over this because he is just awful, but they...
Yeah, I actually don't remember. Why did Manfred want Nagash back? What was that for? Malekith is the only elf tolerate because he wants to end the worst Ulthuan elves. Nagash is massive tool, but he didn't want the world to end. Oh, I see.
keep their cool. Alarielle more than Tyrion. Tyrion wasn't exactly happy, but he was willing to suck it up given the circumstances. Speaking of, though, Alarielle was pretty much the only elf willing to talk to Tyrion at this point, given his stump with
makes
the Sword of
sense.
Cain. During this time, Be'lakor wandered in and doomed the planned backup world, and as revenge, they used Alarielle's little ruby in her tiara to trap him. He eventually got free because he's doing stuff in AOS, but hey, he was good going for a bit. It came time for one final
He was a
effort
happy
to
boy
save the
now. He was a happy boy. Time to kill everything without a beard. No, the beard is needed. I'm ready to clap those cheeks. Nagash is snatched. Manfred betrayed everyone just because he's a pretty little jerk who couldn't handle being outshone by Daddy. He just has daddy issues. It's okay. I understand.
world and blah blah blah.
You didn't see my message? Alright, let me put on the Sigvald cosplay minus the armor. No. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Manfred stabs Gelt, ritual fails, world's consumed by chaos, and everyone dies. At least Alarielle got to have a somewhat peaceful end, all things considered. Her and Tyrion
Wait, she
held
died? Wait, she died in the end times? Oh, I don't like that. He is magnificent. Manfred is a man-child or a vampire child in a sense. Manfred also was so arrogant, he thought he could steal Nagash his power. Pfft, sure. Most hinged Slaanesh comment right there. As you have Vlad the Chad as a dad, you'd get a little jealous. Well, yeah, I guess. Everyone died? Oh no. His love is just because you can hold his plagues for him.
Will chaos consume the world?
I forgot about that.
When she returned in Age of Sigmar, she was the goddess of the realm of life, Gyra.
Oh.
Sigmar found her hibernating like a leafy bear and woke her up, since it was already like 1 in the afternoon.
Wait, so she was the bear? Everybody's dead, Dave. Everybody's dead. No.
And they had things to do. She was grateful enough towards Sigmar and joined his pantheon, and together they helped form civilization in the mortal realms, as all the gods in the Age of Myth did. Although sadly, Alarielle wasn't quite the same as before. The end times, the era between the two settings, and waking up alone had pretty badly traumatized.
Wait, yeah, because no one else became a god actually in that setting, so she is alone. Oh man, bird woman, wait a moment. Wait a moment, that's sus. Ah!
Can we open a donation goal of whatever it is for CPT Raya Dan Sigval cosplay?
Oh my god. Soon enough, you guys will not ask for my fansly or OnlyFans or whatever. No, you're gonna be asking for Captain's OnlyFans in freaking Sigvald cosplay. Why are we going the route of my mod being requested for cosplays? Not even me, just my mod. Another job for me. Why are you not saying no to this? It's because of the writer's strike. They got mad and ended the books. I see. Wait, hold up. Gamers Workshop went rocks fall, everyone is dead because they got mad that fantasy didn't make money.
I want him to pose for me like he is my JoJo stan.
Okay, guys, okay, I have an idea. In the future, whenever there will be merch on the table as a thing that I'm gonna be making, we can make a Captain Standee in that cosplay, okay? We can do that. In the future, we can do it, okay? There will be Captain Standee. Also, thank you so much for 300 bits. I appreciate it. Thank you. Heavy Stand B Sigvald is diabolical. SW5, thank you so much for subby. Thank you. Justice Plant, what are you talking about? I shouldn't say yes, but I'm not saying no. It has to be a man. Of course. Games Workshop only knows how to sell Space Marines, so they blew up the setting to add Fantasy Space Marines. Why think that when the copy what sells best? Yeah. Pay him like one of your French minis. I don't want French minis. Hello, stranger. Welcome. Happy to see your hard thing today. Do you accept payment in Steam gift cards? I don't know how that would work. Hello there, Nekis, welcome. They tried to make Age of Sigmar more like 40k in hopes fantasy gets more popular, and they messed up. One sub towards the Captain Rardenswald cosplay. Guys, I can open... I don't know how much that... I would have to check how much that cosplay costs. I can make a donation goal for that. It is a possibility. But Captain has to agree to it as well. Now they use Age of Sigmar to test things out, and if it is popular, they add it to 40k. I see.
And she would rarely spend time with her fellow deities. As far as I know, for instance, there's no indication that her and Tyrion have any sort of bond any longer. She wasn't even involved in helping get elf souls out of Slaanesh, and for God's sake, even Malekith and Marathi were helping with that. Instead, she planted soul pods. Old souls from Fantasy, new souls from AOS, souls she found lying in a dumpster somewhere. All over Gyron, she planted these soul pods, giving birth to the Sylvaneth. There were also a number of normal elves who came to live under Alarielle.
Oh, so basically she is so depressed, she just grabbed souls and threw them into the trees. I see. And yet AOS didn't go as planned by Games Workshop, which is why they brought back fantasy battles with the old world, because years of complaints, along with the video games of Vermintide and Total War Warhammer.
Protection, and all was good for a while. She even had another kid in a weird wood elf tree lady kind of way. Now make sure to pay real close attention to the mechanics of this in case it ever comes up in your own life. The way a life goddess reproduces is to cut off her hand, plant it in the ground, and eventually out pops a happy-go-lucky tree girl called the Lady of Vines. She was filled with all the cheer and energy Alarielle had lost, and she reminds me of Aliothra. So yeah, she fucking dies when Nurgle decides Alarielle is going in the jar like Isha did in 40k.
So, about that Nurgle love, guys. About that Nurgle love. Can we reiterate why this one died then? I don't know the wider opinion, but honestly, Age of Sigmar and End Times are same shit for me. They pulled everyone's power levels to the sky for no reason at all. Half the characters are becoming gods, etc. Like, why? It's not about how many guys someone can flatline themselves. But I tell you, still Daddy Nurgle? No. That's not out of love. Nurgle is a loved guy? No. He didn't, he did it in a very loving way? No. No. No, 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 no. That's just propaganda. Yeah, that's Nurgle propaganda.
Alarielle's down another daughter now, big rip. Then, as Nurgle is taking over Gyron to make it all gross and icky, she dies. Most of the elves living with the Sylvaneth also fled for their own safety, so now they were down a leader and...
Hello there, Boo FN. Welcome. Happy to see you. How are you doing today? Nurgle is lover? No, he's not a lover. I wouldn't say that. Not the Isha jar joke. Hopefully not. It's for safekeeping. I don't trust that. I love all my homes hate Nurgle. Isha is a Nurgle jar is diabolic. Age of Sigmar was trying to be more like 40k, and as a result just became a lesser version of 40k instead of its own thing, so people just play 40k instead. Yeah, I understand. I don't think they should do that. Hello, welcome, happy to see you. If you are interested, check out PancreasNoWork's video on what if the end times never happened. It's definitely a nice piece of alternate timeline stuff. Ooh, I'm gonna check that too, for sure.
And all of their friends. The Sigmarines, who had just recently taken reality by storm, replanted her own soul pod, and when she reawoke, she was properly ready to get back in the game. She realized retreating back into only protect Gyron, A, wasn't sustainable, and B, was the same abandonment stunt the elves pulled on her. She ultimately forgave
Sigmarians gods, that's so cheap. Wait, what?
Gave those new elves, although many of the Sylvaneth haven't, remade the Lady of Vines, replaced her hand with one made out of living wood, and then marched straight into the mostly Khorne-controlled Realm of Fire. And Khorne's forces, in spite of putting up a good fight, were getting crushed. In spite of Khornate's liking axes, they're a bit less...
No corn flakes. She went for the milk.
less effective on trees that move and beat you to death. Alarielle, for her part, was the wrath of nature given humanoid form, crushing and blasting foes all across the battlefield. The battle ended with Alarielle and the Sylvaneth, much like Sigmar and his Stormcast, pushing back the forces of chaos and beginning a campaign to not only secure Gyron, but the rest of the mortal realms. Oh, and she also brought back Draika. You know, Draika, the insane dryad lady that hindered the forces of order during the end times at every possible opportunity. Desperate times and all that, I guess. As time has gone on in the Age of Sigmar, she's made multiple appearances of varying levels of impact. Relatively early on in the setting's history, she brokered peace between her Sylvaneth children and the cities of Sigmar's city of Greywater Fastness. It's a 19th century industrialist wet dream, which unfortunately means it's a nightmare of factory pollution. She was able to get them to somewhat limit their polluting in exchange for the Sylvaneth not wiping them off the map, although conflict does occasionally break out still.
You know, you don't have to stop polluting, but if you don't, well, you may be not able to pollute anymore.
In Broken Realms, she opened the realm gates to the 8 points to allow a joint Stormcast and Daughters of Cain assault. Very interestingly, she only...
Oh yeah, Daughters of Cain is the thing. I forgot about it. It wasn't the Morathi video. I remember now. Yeah. She's riding a bull beetle. I mean, rhino beetle. I think it's rhino beetle, yeah.
Did it when Morathi asked her to and refused Sigmar at first, because apparently the Daughters of Cain had been staunch allies with the Sylvaneth for some time. I guess her and Morathi don't quite hate each other as much anymore, which is new. At some point she planted a seed that was the positive aspects of the old elf god Kurnos to be her consort, renamed Kurnoth. The negative aspects of him are in a place called the Weld, slowly gathering worshippers and gaining power all on its own. She is aware and trying to deal with this, but there's a lot on her plate.
I wonder if... Why does he look like a beast man?
So it isn't going too well. As an aside, she's now cucked Tyrion in 2 settings. When Nagash was doing his 3rd kill everything ever ritual, she told Teclis not to worry about it too much at first, since life and her own power was soon to overtake that of death and Nagash. Teclis was understandably not willing to wait for whatever mystic BS she was on about to happen.
Whoa, why am I blushing? What is this? Why am I blushing suddenly? Where did that come from? Stop that. Stop that. Bad chat, bad.
She gave him a hand, and after Teclis blew apart Nagash, she performed her own ritual to cleanse the death energy from reality and replace it with life energy. That's good. It worked with a resounding success, finally putting an end to the Necroquake. Unfortunately, it worked too well and freed the ancient god of destruction Kragnos from his prison. She's done
She may have been...
rather little in the way of preventing any resulting catastrophes from this, but she is preoccupied with corrupted seed Sigmar hidden Gyron that Nurgle's forces are using, so fair's fair, I guess. She made a rain shower cleanse the city of Nurgle corruption, and has overall been a real force for good in the mortal realms ever since her reemergence as a true warrior goddess. As always, let's wrap up with do or don't Alarielle for Age of Sigmar. For lore positives, she's both a goddess, queen, and factional leader. Same as she was in fantasy, to be honest. So fights with her aren't just going to be grand-scale encounters with the largest of armies. You've got your faction leader throwing down and showing that she isn't no slouch. Having a playable deity on the field of battle...
Actually, I want to see her mini with that beetle as her as her mount. I think it would be awesome if like they made a mini with that. That would be so cool. Malfurion is not the same, eh?
Is always spectacular, and Alarielle is no exception. She's also a returning character from fantasy, so with her you get to follow a character whose story has been going strong for decades. That being said, in personality she's pretty different from who she once was, and the mortal realms have turned her into a unique character in AOS rather than just Alarielle ported over from fantasy. Not that I'd have much in the ways of issue
Just remember her mini beetle and all. Oh, that sounds great. I'm happy to hear that.
with that, but it is cool to see her change with the setting. She's definitely for you if you want your army to be firmly in the good aligned side of things. The Sylvaneth do sometimes go all Athel Lauren on outsiders and kill them for being in the wrong part of town, but Alarielle for her part doesn't do much of that. Ever since her second rebirth, she's been happy to work with outsiders as needs dictate. For internal faction relations, she's a mother to all the Sylvaneth. They adore her and follow her.
So wait, Sylvaneth are the new elves now? Or is it like a completely new thing that has been created? What's up with that? I'm a bit confused about that one.
Her every wish. If she says they're going to be the good guys and play nice with Sigmar's lot, then that's what they'll do. She in turn does everything she possibly can to keep them safe. Despite everything, she's still a caring individual who will keep her children safe to the best of her ability. Alarielle takes to the battlefield because her children and the forces of order need her to, which is very heroic. And most prominently for the lore positives I see, she's a goddess who can well and truly fight back. Yes, she died. Yes, she went through some mental anguish that's caused some problems, but...
Well, who wouldn't have problems if you lost your mother early, became an Everqueen very early of age, and then you were fighting for thousands of years, then you died, well, your daughter died, then you died, then you were reborn, but were unhappy, then you were reborn again, question mark? And now you're trying to do something? Sylvaneth are kinda like ants. Oh, the tree people. Okay. So Sylvaneth are like the tree people. Okay.
Fantasy, she went toe-to-toe with Slaanesh and held her own, and she's only gotten stronger since. So if you want to show...
I actually wonder, yeah, since she was fighting one-on-one Slaanesh in the fantasy, can she now kill her? Back then, she wasn't even a goddess. She just was God-blessed. So, true. Alarielle is the ultimate girl boss, yes.
What the power of a god can really do, she's perfect for it. Only surpassed by Nagash, of course, for such is his power. For tabletop positives, her basic stat line is 16 HP, a 14-inch move, 5 control, and a 3-up save. She's pretty tanky, all things considered, especially with her life.
You can't kill a chaos god. It's like trying to kill emotion everywhere at once and preserve its resurgence. Oh, I see. Slaanesh is still in horny jail. Yes, she has been put there very long time ago.
Bloom ability that gives her the potential to heal 2d3 wounds with no strings attached. She can do that in any hero phase too, which makes it all the more versatile a healing ability.
We love healing. Well, I love healing of any type.
Pretty safely put Alarielle in some tricky situations, knowing she'll probably be just fine. She's also a good caster, being able to cast 3 spells. Her Metamorphosis spell lets her deal some decent damage, and if you kill the enemy with it, you can place a free tree. The Sylvaneth love their goddamn trees, so this is a good spell. Her healing ability can also be used to instead give her +1 to her
good tree is not bad.
So if she's either not taken too many wounds or it's early in the battle, she can be a proper magical menace. She can bring the pain just fine in more mundane combat too. Her ranged attack isn't anything too special.
Wait, she has a Spear of Khorne? Oh yeah, because the Sword of Cain is with her husband.
Special, but it can get an early snipe in on a bigger character you might be using Alarielle to deal with. Her spear in melee has 5 attacks with 3s to hit and wound, rend 2, and deals 2 damage. Her beetle, and by the way she rides a big beetle now, only hits on a 4-up, but it wounds on a 2-up, has 6 attacks until she takes pretty big
6 attacks! That's kinda cool.
Damage and has
I like that you can fight with it too.
She's gonna put the hurt on people that get close to her, and with a total of 11 attacks in melee, she's solid.
Yeah, 11 attacks in melee is yeah. You can't really oops. People started to teach Tori in the Discord server about this. Yeah, a bit. I was told some very basic stuff about the stats. I for now it's very confusing still.
solid at taking on both characters and tougher troops. With her living battering ram ability, she can also be brutal on the charge if you roll a high charge roll and roll the needed 3 up on.
Nice.
She does give some army support too, mainly in her healing. In your movement phase, you can pick a destroyed Sylvaneth unit and on a roll of 4 up, bring it back at half strength. If you choose a monster...
Oh. I don't know why half strength though. Why that would be useful.
Takes an auto 8 damage, but it's still back. Necromancy is a lot funnier when it's trees, and you can do just that with her. And last tabletop...
Necromancy is much funnier when it's trees. Oh, that's awesome. Is this her freaking mini? Oh my gosh, is it gorgeous. So gorgeous. I love it. I love that mini. It's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. That's an amazing mini indeed. My freaking god. Whoever designed it, chef kiss. Chef kiss.
Positive, sweet god, her model is beautiful.
Yes!
It's gorgeously designed, wonderfully implemented, and it is just phenomenal all around. It's aged fantastically for a model as relatively old as this one, and it
very
does
good
so
mini,
much
very
justice
good.
to her. And yes, tall, pretty lady. I prefer my elves to be twinks and goths, but I firmly respect the person who declared Alarielle needed thighs that could crush an entire field of watermelon.
She can literally death by snoo. Literally.
Good taste, whoever you are. For lore downsides, it's kind of a shame that the Everqueen plotline is just dead. That whole thing with their child becoming the next one is really cool, but it looks like it died with Aliathra. I don't believe there's been any mention of it, which is...
Oh yeah, true, because now there will be no more Elven Everqueen, because their previous one died, and there is no more daughters to be have. Next stream, painting of Aurelia's miniature. I would love to paint miniatures, and I'm gonna reiterate it many times. Currently, I am not in a financial position to do it. I checked the prices of like a basic paint kit and some better brushes. They are quite expensive. As I saw, they're around 160, 80 euro, if I remember correctly. And it's separately, a set of brushes and set of paints, not counting the ones that I would have to buy more. And the mini itself is also not the most cheap thing, unfortunately. But currently, no. In future, hopefully. In future, I would love to paint some Mechanicus, maybe Chorfs, probably some Necrons, although a bit less because they're slightly boring to paint because they are mostly gray and green. But I think that miniature, just for the sake of how great it looks like, it looks awesome.
Is made more annoying by the fact she's still called Alarielle the Everqueen. And as is usual with these godly characters, you don't get the more
these look so good
approach with any
too.
army she's a part of.
I actually really like these miniatures. They look really cool. I love the huge tree on the left. I really do like this. I think I would have fun painting these. Are you looking forward to the number 4? Yes, I am.
This is the goddess of life. She's not got the time to be taking on a random group of a couple beastmen. She's only coming out for the real battles, so if you like lower stakes narratives for your game, maybe sub her out for someone else. You're also fielding a character who strikes me as being high risk for not learning her lessons. Like, she lived through the end times. She saw how it was only the combined efforts of everyone, man, elf, dwarf, and more.
But she still doesn't want to do that.
She was there at Middenheim when the ritual was being cast. She knows that if it wasn't for one asshole betraying them, she'd still have her home world. And yet during the Age of Chaos, she still left Sigmar's pantheon along with everyone else to focus on her own realm, and suffered for it. And I don't want to be rude, partially because I'm not entirely sure I missed a lore blurb somewhere, but she seems to have done it again. When she cast her own big ritual to counter Nagash's, she freed Kragnos. And yet I'm almost positive she hasn't done anything about it.
Of course not. Why would she do that? Anything about it? It has AdMech, so clearly yes. Exactly. It has AdMech, so clearly yes. That's all I need in the Warhammer game. Just tell me that there is AdMech and I want it.
Come on, Alarielle. You really gotta learn to play nice with everyone else properly.
No.
This isn't too big of a con, and I'm a pointy-eared fanatic, so I'm not gonna hold it too much against her. But it really doesn't look good on anyone involved when Nagash is the last person to betray someone, and that includes Alarielle here. That does actually remind me of one last combined pro and con. Life is a good counter to death, so if Nagash drives you to rage, having Alarielle in your army is a great way to give the Bone Pope the finger. The opposite side of that coin is having a character in your army and faction that the entire Grand Alliance of Death would probably happily see slaughtered. And chaos. And destruction, most likely. You know, as much as I said that Alarielle is happy to get along with other people now, maybe don't pick her if you want true, actual friends in other factions. They might end up getting cucked like poor Tyrion. For tabletop cons, it's gonna be a pretty short list, because by all means, she appears to be
Maybe the real end times were the friends we made along the way. Maybe.
Damn good. At 680 points, losing her early on or at a crucial moment is going to kick your army square in the sack.
Oh yeah,
especially
that's
if you're
gonna
relying on her
suck.
resurrection abilities to pull some shenanigans with. At smaller point games, she's either not fitting in the army, or you're not going to have much of an army left to fit her in. She's also not quite enough of a beatstick to keep up with the heaviest hitters. Archaon is going to give her some pain, and while in lore her ritual ass-blasted Nagash is out of existence, on the tabletop her spellcasting doesn't hold a candle to his. Speaking of, in fact, I don't think she has any insta-kill protection unless I'm missing something. I hope you pick the correct hand if you're facing Nagash down, because otherwise you just had a third of your entire army flushed down the drain with Hand of Dust. This next one is purely a personal taste thing, but I just don't care for the Sylvaneth lore. I don't care about the trees. I do not have wood for the trees. Sure, it's fitting for her lore, but I can't be bothered. So despite being a good wizard, I just find the spells she can cast pretty mediocre. I'm sure there's someone who's gonna hate me for saying that, but I can't bring myself to like the Sylvaneth spell lore no matter how hard I try. Teclis and Nagash have spoiled me on this, I will fully admit. And there we have it. Alarielle the Everqueen. Gaslight Chaos and Dark Elves, Gatekeep Dark Elves out of Ulthuan, and Nurgle out of Gyron, and Girlboss the High Elves and Sylvaneth around to kill people she doesn't like. Oh, I guess there's one final tip. Not gonna do a full do or don't with this one, but if you're not playing as her in Total Warhammer, be very afraid of her. The peace-loving epitome of life and mercy gets no greater joy than beelining it for the Sword of Cain and using it to make a Narian look like a weakling. She isn't Alarielle the Radiant in Total Warhammer. She's Alarielle Whitestrake, because Nagaroth is going to look like a crater before long if she has her way. Or she'll single-handedly kill Archaon because she can just decide she's doing that now. You can write over Rohan /
So can I just do that?
For this lovely art piece, by the way. Sorry for butchering the ad. It's gameplay accurate. And as always, thank you to my wonderful channel members. You were the life magic to my Alarielle, letting me create all sorts of wondrous slop on this platform. If you'd like to support the channel, feel free to subscribe or become a member. Either way, thank you for watching and take care out there.
Ah, that was a good video. That was a good video.
Hey you, person who stuck around.
Hi.
You get a bonus lore positive for hanging out till the end.
Bonus lore.
By using Alarielle, you can rub it into the face of Eldar fans that they have the writers that despise elves. The Eldar have their life goddess stuck in Nurgle's garden, and the Asur / Sylvaneth have theirs regularly taking to the field to destroy anything that threatens them. Isn't it nice to be into fantasy in AOS? Isn't it nice when everyone gets to have fun?
I got bonus lore.